Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
Todd, I'll love it. Todd, I'll love it.
Todd and Craig, good to hear you guys.
Todd, I'll love it.
This is Attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Honestly, you could not be any more spot on.
Now, from the Black Diamond Group mothership in the studios of 98.5 UPS, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Are you ready?
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, Attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting in the middle of the mitten in the Black Diamond Group mothership with my good friend, Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Don't call him Mando. He's currently on tour. You ready for this, folks? Playing lawn darts. That's right, lawn darts. Circa 1974 when I was 9, probably one of the most dangerous backyard games, on tour with a professional lawn darts league. Craig, the water's wet, the sky is blue. I'm so stoked. And how are you? How you doing, Craig?
I am fan-flippin-tastic, but don't mind my bloody foot because I got hit with a lawn dart. Oh, my God. That is the most dangerous game ever.
You know, I was thinking about, we often talk about on the show, because I'm going to be 60 and you're 120. We always talk about games we played when we were growing up. But, we had to go, we grew up in the city, so we had to go, come in when the street lights went on. And I don't know, when people live in a country, when do they have to go in?
Probably when, maybe the fire dies out or something, or the sun goes down. I don't know.
All right. We'll have to listen to some Luke Bryant songs or some Jelly Roll to figure out when people born in the country had to come in at night. But as, young kids growing up in the city, it was always the street light. But back to lawn darts, I was thinking about Red Rover. We talk about that, hide and seek, playing all these games in the street, whatnot, kickball, soccer, football, baseball with tennis rackets. And then I was thinking about lawn darts. Could there have been a more dangerous game to put in the hands of any human on planet Earth?
Especially not 9-year-old kids.
How would you describe a lawn dart for those who have no idea what we're talking about?
Well, it kind of looks like a mini rocket, but it's like a metal projectile with a pointed tip, and you're supposed to throw it. It's kind of like the city suburb version of horseshoes. You have a little plastic circle, and you throw the dart, and you have to get it to try and get it into the little circle, and you throw it like a horseshoe. Except if you miss and it hits, little Tommy Sput, he's permanently disabled. So
not I don't even know if they sell those still, but
I think they sell a much safer version, like that have a rounded tip and it doesn't like go into the ground like that. It's more like a weight or like I think cornhole's kind of taken over for that kind of stuff. Oh man.
I just want to apologize to all the young kids in my neighborhood growing up when we played hide and seek. When we told you to hide and we never came and sought you out, and we just left you there. I'm just saying that was
totally
growing up there.
I can totally see you doing that. I totally see it.
But Craig, listen, we opened up the show with Uncle Ted. We love Uncle Ted. Big shout out to Uncle Ted Wango Tango.
Yeah.
And that song, one, we love Uncle Ted and we always play Uncle Ted. But we have a huge guest coming on the show today. Who would that be before we bring him on, Craig?
That would be Craig Pinkelman. Craig Pinkelman is part of the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. Is he not the president of the group?
I believe he is, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, the social media coordinator.
Okay,
but
yep,
also
that's right.
The trail ride chair.
Yep.
And he does so much more than his titles, but what a great association, Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. And I'm so honored, to have him on the show. He's going to be coming on here shortly to talk about, who and what they are, what they have done in the past, and what value do they bring to the off-roading community. There's so many different topics we're going to talk about with Craig. So thank you to all the members and volunteers of that association, and for Craig taking the time out of his busy day and evening to come on the show. Also, Craig and I are the same age. We're both 59, born in 65, graduate in 83, Craig. So that's a kind of a cool thing,
Yeah, it is cool. And, of course, he requested some a little bit of Wango Tango Ted, Uncle Ted, which, of course, being from Detroit, you almost have to know Uncle Ted. I mean, come on. It's a given.
And for those of us that hunt and fish and love the outdoors, how do you not know Uncle Ted?
Exactly.
Craig, but for those just tuning in for the first time, I'm attorney Todd L. Levitt, practicing criminal defense, licensed restoration the first 12 years in Metro Detroit, where I was born and raised, and then since then for 31 years plus in central, mid-northern Michigan. And we've been doing this radio show for quite some time. I know you've been on the radio for how long, Craig?
Almost 35 years. And you and I have been together for almost 8 years. Did you realize that? It's been almost 8 years.
Yeah, and I'm not even seeking a divorce at this time. I still love you, brother.
Oh, that's good to know. 7 years. That's the 7 year, what is it, the 7 year itch? Or are we in a common law marriage now or something? What's Jen going to say?
I don't know. I'm not going to go there, but I just want to say I love my wife, and I do love you as my friend. But, Craig, we got a huge show, and, Craig, who's coming on the show here in a moment, he did request some Uncle Ted, so why don't we play some Uncle Ted and stop wasting time and bring him on the show of all shows.
Oh, Fred Bear, walk with me.
There I was, back in the wild again. And I felt right at home, where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again. Just like it happened so many times before. Yeah. The spirit of the woods is like an old good friend. Makes me feel warm and good inside. And I knew his name, and it was good to see him again. 'Cause in the wind he's still alive. Oh, Fred Bear, walk with me down the trails again. Take me back where I belong. Oh, Fred Bear, I'm glad to have you at my side, my friend. And I'll join you in the big hunt before too long.
Without further ado, Craig Pinkelman from the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. Give us your actual title, Craig, so we get it right.
My actual title is social media coordinator for the group. I also hold the title of Trail Ride Chair, but we need social media more right now. So that's what the role us volunteers all do, is whatever's needed.
What is a Trail Ride Chair? What does that do?
In the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association started in 1969, and there weren't a whole lot of clubs and that around. So traditionally, the Trail Ride Chair would put trail rides together.
Oh, okay.
But now with all the clubs and organizations doing so many organized trail rides, we'd rather not compete with them. We're here to support them. So that role has kind of faded away, other than one event we do every year is a fundraiser.
So Craig, I met Craig Pinkelman via my newly found interest in ORV, off-road vehicle and outdoor, excitement here. I purchased a KRX 1000 side-by-side trail edition 2-seater, not really knowing, Craig, too much about the community in regards to men and women who love the Jeeps, from the ORVs, the side-by-sides to the ATVs, motorcycles. There's so much ORV action out there. And that's how Craig and I met. And I'm so honored to have you on the show, Craig. You, as well as the association, does such a great job, as well as so many other men and women out there across the state and country. But tell us a little bit about, again, I think you mentioned in 1969, that's how long the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association has been around. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what exactly... tell us a little bit about the club, who originally established it, and what type of advocacy does the group do? You talked about group riding, but there's so much more, from fundraising to grant programs, and especially advocacy on all levels. So tell us a little bit about the group, if you would.
Okay, and we're an association. We're not a club per se. But it was formed in, like I said, 1969 by a group of gentlemen and their families, and they loved hanging out with their Jeeps, their full-size vehicles, their Broncos, that type of thing, and riding in the woods of northern Michigan and the Great Lakes area. Just two-tracking and forest roads and that at that time, when there really wasn't an ORV program. I would be lying if I could tell you the names of the people that did it. I've been fortunate enough to meet some of them that have really been intimately involved in the evolution of the ORV program in the state of Michigan. And we're blessed to have that program in the state of Michigan. We are very unique to any other place in the country like that. And Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association really tries to be the voice of the off-road users in the state of Michigan, to the legislature, to the DNR, and working with all those things in order to ensure that we continue to have the access that we do have. There's other groups that do as well, and we work with them too. We monitor the ORV program and the monies that are in it. Few people tend to know that the ORV program in the state of Michigan uses zero taxpayer dollars. It is 100% funded by the users themselves from the trail permits sales. And there's legislation in how that money's supposed to be spent, and we get involved in that. We also get involved with anything that's going on that's either gonna increase access to areas, or limit access, or restrict or eliminate access to areas, because we're really one legislative vote away, one governor's signature away, one DNR director's executive order away from having things closed down.
Yeah, and it seems to me, as somebody who I mean, those who listen to the show, all 10 people out there in the Amish, big shout out to all the Amish out there, right, Craig Russell?
Of course.
It seems to me, as new to this sport, if that's what I call it a sport, I love my KRX 1000. It seems to me that there's so many men and women out there, such as yourself, myself, and a lot of our listeners and those who are just tuning in to hear you provide all this information. You know, there just seems to be more open trails. It seems to me that there are snow, and we had a colonel from the DNR on, Corporal Hearn from the DNR on our show a couple weeks ago. He did such a great job explaining this, but just from my own personal experience, I mean, I've been on a snowmobile for years, and there's trails all over the state, but it seems that there could be so much more for the off-road community in regards to all users of all off-road vehicles. Again, that's just my perception, Craig, how I see it. Right or wrong, it's just my own perception. I'm constantly monitoring your page. I know Paul and Howard and some of these men and women that you are familiar with and know personally who do such a great job with their organizations advocating for more trail access. But is that a problem throughout the state? Is there limited trail access, or can you talk about that somewhat?
Sure. You mentioned some really awesome people. Paul and Mel, Howard, Dave Titus, Scott Nessel's one. He's president of the St. Helens Snowpackers and ORV Club, and his entire team there that do the grading of the trails. FYI, you groom snow, you grade trails. As far as limited, there are restrictions on where we should and should not be. And that at times does become a problem, in that we got to remember that the public lands are not ours, in that from an off-road community is every taxpayer's land and every user group's lands, the hunters, the trappers, the bird watchers, the people that go morel mushroom hunting, equestrians, bicycle users, all of them, they have just as much right to those lands as we do. So we have to understand where we should and should not be, where we're allowed and where we're not allowed. And it's really a privilege that no other state really has the way we do. Obviously, there are some that have access like that, like Utah and Colorado and California, but not to the level we do, and not to the programming, the type of programming and funding we do. But if we abuse that, we'll lose it. And we've all found ourselves where we shouldn't be, unintentionally. It's when we start doing off-trail stuff because a hill climb looks cool. Well, we tear that up, trees start falling, things start eroding. One set of tracks leads to thousands of sets of tracks, and then we have destroyed land that everybody else has a vested interest in too.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Hey, if you're just tuning in, we are speaking with Craig Pinkelman from the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. I do know we have to go to break, but when we come back, we have so many questions for you, Craig, in regards to, how can users get educated on proper use and safety considerations, and what are some of the best ways to use mapping applications? How does somebody get involved at the in your type of organization or some of those other groups that can add to the overall enjoyment of all the ORV users out there? So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I think I'm ready for a little wango! A little tango! A 1, 2, 3, 4! She
Welcome back to the Todd and Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting all over planet Earth, third rock from the sun, with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, Little John's best friend.
Hey!
And we're joined by, I'm going to say, our good friend, Craig Pinkelman, with the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. Craig, I wanted to ask you, since I'm somewhat new to this past year, and I live in central northern Michigan, I'm always in God's country, the Great Upper Peninsula, but I've noticed that there's Exit 222, Leota Trail Riders, of course, Howard Campbell, and the Manistee Group. I mean, it's just there's so many great groups out there. Where do you like to ride, and where do you ride often? And you're a Jeep. You like to ride your Jeep, correct?
Yeah, I wheel in my Jeep. I've got more than a few of them, and the hook was setting me deep on that about a decade ago, and so I like to wheel a Jeep. But I've got a side-by-side. I used to have dirt bikes. I used to have snowmobiles. I need to get some utility vehicles because I love St. Helen area, to be honest with you. I have 10 acres up there. My mom and dad have retired up there, have 10 acres next to me in the middle of the woods. And that will soon hopefully be my forever home.
That's awesome.
We grow older here. I personally, as part of Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, head up maintaining 43 miles of the ORV routes in the St. Helen area, the brushing, the trimming, the signage up there, and kind of a give back to it. But I love playing all over. Drummond Island's one of my favorite places. I know you're a UP guy. If you haven't done it, make a plan to do it. You will not regret it. Obviously,
you haven't done it yet. I've just been from Paradise on a side-by-side to Pine Stump, Two Hearted, the lighthouses, Whitefish Point, and I'd like to do the Keweenaw. But now that I'm good friends with you, Craig, I'm putting that out on the radio there. So I hope you back me up on that, even though I've only known you a short time. But we are the same age, born the same year, graduated high school at the same time, so we have that common bond. But in fact, St. Helen, Craig Russell, with Leota, is in our listening area, 98.5, correct?
Very much so, right in our backyard almost.
Yeah, doesn't 98.5, we do bike night in Leota all the time for years, right?
Yep, for sure.
Okay. So, Craig, how can somebody, I obviously found your organization, Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, on Facebook. So how can the public out there, is the public invited to join the association? I mean, where can they follow you? How can they get involved in advocacy, through what you do?
Well, Great Lakes is our primary mode of communication and information is either face-to-face or on Facebook. So our Facebook page, Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, is the best way to make a quick, easy connection. Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, GLFWDA.org is the website, but the website isn't going to tell you a ton, but it'll get you to the membership if you actually want to join as a member, which is a $40 thing. We're all nonprofit and that, but we utilize the money for charities and also to do whatever we may have to do relative to legislators. But let's not try and sell Great Lakes. Great Lakes, we want to attract, not solicit.
Sure.
To a new user, be it dirt bikes, quads, side-by-sides, Jeeps, Broncos, whatever, the best thing to do is look around for a local club. Like in Southeast Michigan, there's Wicked Jeeps. In Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan, there's Glass City Crawlers. There's, pretty much West Branch has got a couple of really good clubs. Ogama Jeepers, Forgiven 4x4. They're just, there's Wicked Jeeps Central Michigan, Wicked Jeeps West Michigan. There's the Mud Chuggers. There's Mud, Sweat, and Gears. And that happens to be full size. Jason Holton, who has really done one heck of a job with Twisted UTVs, bringing that group together as the side-by-side thing really grows and gets active. He has done a great job, and what I'm saying is get involved with them to learn, because nobody's born in this world knowing how to do this stuff. And even if you are an accomplished driver of anything, once you start getting off-road and need to learn how to negotiate, learn what you need for safety, not just to be legal, but to have a good day instead of a bad day.
Yeah,
you want to get with somebody that...
I agree with that. Not to interrupt you, Craig. Go ahead. I was just thinking as you're talking, and obviously I interrupted you, but as a lawyer, I'm accused of doing that every now and then. But you had me thinking, as an avid mountain biker, and I do a lot of races throughout the year, and I train on single tracks, it's so dangerous, with these machines, as it is even mountain biking. I mean, you can go out in the woods. We have, my group of bike riders, it's similar, I think, to some of the ORV community, if not the entire. If you're together and you ride together, you stick together, you look out for one another, you don't get separated. If you come upon someone that looks like they're in need or help, we stop. So as a mountain biker, this is something that, I live by that code. And now as a new ORV side-by-sider, to me, it still applies. Now, obviously, it's much more dangerous. I mean, at times being in a machine, that could hit a tree, go off a cliff, catch fire, turn over in a mud bog. But mountain bikers, you can fall off the handlebars and break your neck, God forbid. I mean, I've gone over and had to go to the hospital. So, but you bring up a lot of good points about learning safety and the road conditions. But so you're saying look up online some of these great organizations and groups that may exist in an area in which you live in. But how can somebody then who's never been on a trail, will somebody who's new to this be able to hook up with other riders for the first time and join a group ride so they can learn from those like yourself and how to ride these trails?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was in 2016, I joined a group, for example, called Wicked Jeep Southeast Michigan. And I was born and raised a farm boy. I drove pretty much everything. I was driving semis when I was 14 years old. But the hook was set in me when I met some guys that were going to St. Helen in their Jeeps, and they invited me along. And I kind of asked to go along. I didn't know what airing down was, much less why. I didn't understand what sway bars did.
You talk about tires on the airing down?
Yeah, it's just all those things. Why should I have a winch? Why should I have a kinetic rope instead of a tow strap? Those things. Well, the hook was set because those guys, and it's not just the Jeeps. The Bronco guys do it. The side-by-side guys do it. The dirt bike guys do it. Dirt bike guys, you got Great Lakes Dual Sporters, you got the CCC. Those people love for new people to come. And guess what? You don't have to pay to be a member for these things. It's just a club that gets together, and they're passionate about their sport. They love it, and they love sharing what they've learned with new people and making new friends. And that's one awesome thing about the off-road community. Once you experience it, you get it.
But how are trails? Can you talk a little bit about how trails are actually developed? New trail systems? Do they use existing snowmobile trails or just county roads? How is a new trail or a trail developed? And you talked about the money. Talk a little bit about the money for those systems. Where do they come from?
Well, let's start with the money, because that'll lead segue into the how to. Okay, and you're a lawyer, so I'll cite this real quick. In 1994, there was Public Act 451, which was Natural Resource and Environmental Protection Act. Paragraph 324 in that goes into the ORV program when it was originally established in Michigan. And then within that, it spells out what an ORV is, blah, 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 all the legal stuff that could be explained better than me. But It
You're
establishes
doing a great job of it, though. I'm just saying, Craig, you're outstanding.
But within that, it specifies how the program would be funded and how that money would be spent. So right now we pay $36.25 for a set of stickers that are the ORV permit and then the ORV trail permit put together. Of that, 25 cents of it goes to the person who sells it. You know, be it the hardware store or the bait shop or Myers or whatever. $1 goes into a fund for education and training. And then $35 goes into the Michigan ORV Improvement Fund. Then within that, $35 is divided up of 50% of it goes into the ORV improvement and maintenance grants. And, 12.5% goes into damage restoration grants. 31% of that $35 goes into the ORV Trail Law Enforcement Fund. So paying for law enforcement, both DNR and the local sheriffs and police departments and that. And then 3 1/3% goes to the administration of the improvement fund, the grants.
Well, that's
and
really
then,
cut up into a small pie. I mean, the fees are not extremely high for us users. I've seen people complain online about it from out of state and in state, and I'm always thinking to myself, that's just not a lot of money to pay for an activity, not knowing where the money was going, Craig. But I mean, Craig Russell, do you agree? I mean, that's a small amount of money to split that pie up in so many different directions.
Oh yeah, you could easily, I'm sure other states probably charge more, bigger states. It's cool that it's the money is just capped at a small amount when it comes right down to it, because the stickers are good for how long, Craig?
From April 1st until March 31st every year.
So a year, basically. You're talking
calendar year.
$40 a year is just not that big of a deal, especially if you're putting how many hundreds of thousands of dollars into your off-road vehicles and into maintenance and upkeep of them. $40 is relatively small, but at least that is there, because I'm sure there's a lot of states that don't have that. Correct?
Correct. Like this Ohio, that as far as I know, I know that they don't have any permits or anything like that, but they also have hardly any trails. There's some in Hocking Hills, and then you've got your private parks. And that's all Ohio has. Tennessee and Kentucky, I've guided down there for Jeep Jamboree, and there are no permits or anything down there. But again, most of it is private, and then you pay for the use of the private parks. I
got a question for you, Craig. And again, we're speaking with our good friend. We're so thankful that you took the time to come on the show, especially, we download this as a podcast, obviously, which for some reason is downloaded in 65 countries on every podcasting platform. But obviously, we're on 98.5 WUPS, Central Northern Michigan, right smack dab in the middle of St. Helen, Leota, exit 222. And people traveling north and south. But we're joined by Craig Pinkelman, who the trail ride chair, social media coordinator, an outstanding individual in his own right, not only because you and I are the same age, born the same year, but you're with the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. We so much appreciate the association and everything you and all the men and women do. It's been around since 1969. And again, can you just mention some of the other groups from Paul? Paul's a great guy. He's always in contact with me. And your friend Howard and Dave Titus. Just mention some of the other groups just briefly, real quick. Give them a shout out.
That's Paul and Mel Mulder are out there in Leota, and they do an awesome job. They are lifetime members of Great Lakes, but they are also part of several other groups as well. The CCC, which is the motorcycle organization or dirt bike organization. That's a big group, and Freeman Hopkins is currently the president of that. He's been around a long time and just an incredible wealth of knowledge. you get out there to Lake County, Manistee, Irons area, and you mentioned him, Howard Campbell, Dave Titus, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Bob Myers. He's not only a sheriff's deputy out there, but he is also the chair of the ORV Advisory Work Group, which is also a group that advises on the program that was set up as part of that public act that I talked about. Then you've got, for the 222 over in St. Helen, you've got the St. Helen Snowpackers and ORV Club. Scott Nessel, who's also on the ORV Advisory Board.
Oh, yeah, Scott. You know some great people out there. I
am blessed to know these people.
Yeah,
I truly am.
And I'm honored that I've had an opportunity to communicate with each of those individuals just briefly, online there a few times. But, and let me ask you, I wanted to ask you about the Sand Bowl. Is that in exit 222?
Yes, that is over in St. Helen. There are, I think it's 1,290 acres that is called the free area or the scramble area. And that is just full of ORV trails, ORV routes, CCC trails. It's a big hill and big sand hill. There's sugar sand in St. Helen. So it's one of the things that makes it challenging, but it's a big hill there. And then on either side of it, there's what is turned into bowls, especially for side-by-sides. It's a blast to where you can come down the hill, around the bowls, and shoot back up the hill.
Yeah, I'm coming. I've never been out there. I am inviting myself next time you're up there in the future to bring a significant other and go riding with you. I'd be honored, truly. I've
always welcome. Welcome, and there's a rock course in there as well. That before my time with Great Lakes got a grant to put that in. And I think we really should talk about the grant process so that people understand how. Yeah,
I want to know what a grant sponsor. I know I keep jumping in here. I want to know what a grant sponsor is. How are we doing on time, Craig?
Well, we have to take a break. We can get to that when we get to segment 3 of the big show when we come back. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show with special guest today from the Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. It's Craig Pinkelman who is here. Hey!
Yeah! Class
Dueling
83,
Craigs.
baby. Class 83. Where'd you go to high school, Craig?
St. John's Jesuit High School in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Toledo. The guys I'm on a mountain bike team with, they are from Napoleon. and Sylvania, Ohio, and they still live there. So big shout out to Chucky Martinez, Jeremy Schaefer, Tommy Jaguar, and Big Daddy, a.k.a. Chad. So there's my Ohio. Shout out, Go Blue. But we're glad to have someone from Ohio living in Michigan. I just want to say that. We're glad to have recruited you to the great state of Michigan, Craig.
I won't get into how I think my ancestors should have kept fighting the border war and brought it up further north. That's besides the point.
Toledo, we got the UP. It's a true story.
And honestly, Michigan got the better end of that deal.
Heck yeah. Listen, there's nothing better than God's country above the Mackinac Bridge there. But, hey, Craig, we so much appreciate you coming on the show. And, again, big shout out to everybody at Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. How can the public who's listening, if they're interested, sorry about my dog is here in the studio, how can the public learn more about the association? And do you accept new members to the association? And before we talk about grants, if you could talk a little bit about that briefly.
Yeah, our membership is unlimited. Honestly, it's $40 a year for an individual membership, and then we have business members and we have club members too. But it's just glfwda.org, and really the $40 just goes into the coffers for all the charities that we support, and then all the work that we do to keep our presence known as the off-road community in the state legislature.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to join. Abso-freaking-lutely, my man. And I can't wait to ride all these trails with you and some members during hunting season. I always, as a mountain biker, stay out of certain woods during hunting season since I hunt, because I like to respect the hunters and give them the time of the year that they so deserve with their friends and family, that they've been doing for generations. But can you talk a little bit about the grant sponsor program? I'll get into that a little bit.
Just quickly, that hunting season thing, in case anybody doesn't know it, you are not allowed to be out in an ORV in the woods from November 13th to November 31st, other than a small window of time. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. during rifle season, by the way. So, but relative to the grant sponsor thing, I talked earlier
Good info,
about.
By the way, Craig, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Like I said, a certain percentage, that 35 of that $36.25 goes into basically trail development, restoration, and maintenance. So, but a lot of people think that the DNR does that. Well, the DNR does little to none of that. All of that is done through clubs and associations like Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association, the St. Helens Snowpackers, all the clubs, especially the local clubs up there. If you frequent a place, find what the local snowmobile and ORV club is, spend your $20, join it, because those are the people that apply for grants to be able to grade trails, to be able to groom trails, to do the signage on the trails, and then also to put in proposals for new trails. Those are the people that work with the county road commissions if they're using any county roads as ORV trails or ORV routes, snowmobile trails, so on and so forth. That's the people like the Snowpackers, the people like Great Lakes, the Irons and Manistee clubs, the Leota people, the CCC, I could name so many, but the Great Lakes Dual Sporters. They're all grant sponsors, and they apply for that money just to offset their expenses to maintain and develop those trails. Now, there's also, you put in for grants to do things like restore areas that have been damaged. And we need to do that, because if it's been damaged, like we talked about other user groups before, if we don't restore it in a sustainable way, we'll start losing access. And we'll see things like some of people who've been out there probably already see them, the embankments and things like that in the middle of the woods to keep people from going and tearing things up. But again, that's all the local communities and the clubs and things like that
and respect private landowners, right? That's another thing.
Absolutely respect.
I mean, as mountain bikers, we do these huge races. Even though I'm now an ORV enthusiast with my side-by-side KRX 1000, I don't want my friends give me crap about having a Kawasaki. I mean, it's a great machine, and they have all these Generals and Can-Ams, which I love. Polaris. I have Polaris snowmobiles, so I tell my buddies back off, but they're all great vehicles. But my with mountain biking, there's these huge races, Craig, that
yes.
and once a year, public landowners open up the land so that we can, go from Kalkaska, Traverse City, doing this race called the Iceman Cometh every November. And then as mountain bikers, we know to respect those trails and stay off them. So that we, one is, I'm a criminal defense lawyer of 31 years. It's trespassing. You don't, if somebody doesn't want you on their property, it's their property. That's their right. We don't want to abuse the fact that they allow us to use it once a year to do these races. But I've seen online with the ORV community, that there's private landowners who allow the state to use the trails for snowmobiling. But that's it. The agreement ends after snowmobile season, and that agreement doesn't extend to Jeeps or, side-by-sides and motorcycles. So that's something
right.
I've learned recently from Corporal Hearn, who came on the show. But, as far as that issue, I mean, you bring up so many good points, Craig, and where the money is spent and how it's spent.
Well, and just even when we're going through towns like St. Helen and Roscommon and West Branch and Houghton, Higgins area, and that we have to be respectful there too, because St. Helen, for example, you can drive your ORV side by side, whatever, pretty much anywhere as long as you're not on an M road and that. But you got to obey the rules because those and not violate private property. Because if those people get upset, guess what? They're the voters in that area, and they can have that access shut down real quick, because in that public act, it's up to the local townships and villages and that to decide what they have open and what they don't have open in order to come in town to get gas, to go to restaurants, things like that. It used to be that we had to load our things on trailers and take them to a trailhead and then unload them there. Now, for the most part, with some limitations, we can drive from our cabins. We can drive from the hotel or the Airbnb that we're staying in and access a trail and a gas station and restaurants and that type of thing. But we can lose that real quick.
Hey, Craig, I wanted to ask you a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Ohio, went to high school in Ohio. And what kind of work do you do, if you don't mind me asking, which I asked anyhow?
I've pretty much been in the automotive industry.
What's that?
I've pretty much been in the automotive industry for 40 years now. I've worked for GM for 20 years. I worked in some of the Tier 2 and Tier 3 places for about 8-10 years. And now I work for Stellantis, which is the parent company for, among other things, Jeep. And I'm a manufacturing guy, electrical engineer by undergrad degree, graduate degrees in mechanical industrial engineering and some study of business law and an MBA. But basically, I'm a factory rat.
Wow. Hey, can our law firm hire you? I mean, you sound way I think you're overqualified to work at my law firm. There's no way. I couldn't afford you, Craig. There's not a chance. Forget about it. Not happening. But
honestly, my dream job is to be able to retire early and go to work for the DNR.
Okay. And assist Craig Russell and I in learning all the trails throughout central northern Michigan, right? Because we want to ride.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
if they put an education program,
or what's that?
Oh, well, yeah. Shout out to my daughters that are they're the love of my life. Amy, my better half, she supports me in this, and then she even went and bought her own Jeep so she can play dirty with us.
Nice.
And then of course all the people in the various clubs that I work with, that I'm part of, and all the guys and gals that have taught me so much in the last 10, 12 years since I've really got into off-roading.
I'm so pleased to have met you. I don't even know how we met. I don't know if you reached out to me or I reached out to you, but I enjoyed communicating with you as soon as I met you, and I'm so honored you came on the show. And we hope to have you back on a regular basis to keep the listeners and enthusiasts updated. Before we have to go to our final break, I just want to ask you about, because I see all kinds of different recommendations, mapping. What kind of mapping? Is it V mapping? Is it a Garmin? What do you recommend users utilize?
Well, personally, my favorite and the best for the state of Michigan, without exception, is Jeremy Valley's VV mapping. Jeremy Valley is active in the community. He's a Michigan guy. He developed it, and it's geared just towards off-roading in the state of Michigan. And then, I also use Onyx Off-Road, which is a decent one. Polaris's Ride Command is a decent one too, although it's not as customized for Michigan, so you really got to learn how to use the different layers.
It seems like VV mapping is the one that everybody uses. I've actually purchased that as well. So yeah, it's unbelievable. So kudos to your friend who developed that. Wow.
And Jeremy Valley is another person that has been active in the ORV community for decades. We owe a lot of our access to men and women like him.
I just want to state this. I know we have to get going to break here shortly. Is that even proper English? How about this? I know we have to take a break shortly, but again, I relate ORVing to mountain biking, whether it's gravel road or single track. I ride single tracks. There's so many men and women such as yourself. You're a great organization. You talked about Paul and Howard and Dave, and you mentioned some other great men and women who give so much of their time, and thousands of people enjoy enjoy the great outdoors as a result of what you have done together with this great community. And they may never meet you, they may not see you, but they're using the trails, they're enjoying, this, that, or the other thing. But it takes an organization, it takes someone like you, time away from family to volunteer, so much effort to make these things happen. It's the same thing with mountain biking. I'm sure it's with a lot of outdoor activities, but with mountain biking, it's so similar in these big groups. Western Michigan Mountain Bike Association. I'm a member of Central Michigan Mountain Bike Association. I mean, we advocate to raise funds to create new trails and to upkeep and do similar things. So now that I'm new to your community, this off-road vehicle community, I just see so many similarities, and I just want to mention that to the public. I think it's just important that we all enjoy the great outdoors, and like you said, respect it so that we don't abuse it, so we can keep using it, right? Isn't that what we want to do? And be safe.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't have said it better.
And look out for one another. That's the key. Keep an eye on each other. So.
Yep. No man left behind.
No man left behind. And also, we do this each and every week, Craig. We just want to thank you. Mentioned one of the gentlemen is a sheriff, a deputy, and we love law enforcement. Big shout out to all the men and women in law enforcement. Of course, our vets. We love you. We always support our vets. And Craig, I think we have to go to break. Is that correct?
We do. Craig Pinkelman from Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. Thank you, Craig.
Craig, thanks
so for having me, guys.
And I know there's so much more to get to. We tend to banter on and on and on, and I suck up some oxygen. So I know there's a lot more that you could talk about, but we'd love to have you back on the show right before hunting season. Can we sort of talk about that and schedule you in for part 2 with you?
I may have to do it from my deer blind.
That's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
I just put in a satellite in one of them.
So there you go.
Hey, please give our regards to all those men that you mentioned and women and all the associations and everyone from your great association. Can you name it one more time, the association that you're a part of before we let you go?
Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association.
Outstanding association that's been around forever. We love it. All right, Craig, thank you so much. We will be in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
And we'll be right back.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I think I'm ready for a little wango! A little tango! A 1, 2, 3, 4! A little time to wango!
Welcome back to the Todd and Levitt Law Show with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle. Craig, what a great show with Craig Pinkelman.
Oh, yeah.
And can you just once again announce the association he's with?
The Great Lakes Four-Wheel Drive Association. He's the social media coordinator and the trail ride chair. And plus, I'm just an overall knowledgeable guy about the ORV trails in the state of Michigan, which we are very fortunate that we've got. I mean, we're very fortunate for all the natural resources we have, but we're definitely fortunate for the ORV trails because a lot of places don't have them.
Women I've met, from Howard to Paul to Bob to Dave to Scott. I mean, just amazing men and women who just so unselfish with their time to dedicate it to something that tens of thousands of people enjoy, not even knowing their names, who have helped make this happen, and those who have come before them and us for decades at a time. But anyhow, Craig's definitely coming back on the show. We'll have more people back on the show. I'm new to the industry. I just want to give a big shout out, by the way, to my buddy Cheyenne. I was hanging out with my man Cheyenne from Clear County. Such a cool guy. And I got a call from somebody want to know who I recommend for fencing. And no one better than True North Fencing, Craig.
Okay.
Larry Miller in Clear, Michigan. Look it up, folks. This not a solicitation. It's the truth. True North Fencing, Larry Miller, Jeff Miller, but Cheyenne, great folks. Craig, we got to go.
We do. Show's over.
Hey, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Everybody out there, be safe. Look out for one another. Craig Russell and Craig Pinkelman, thanks again for coming on the show. We'll talk to you soon. Craig, take us out with who? A little Uncle Ted.
You think you see a garage? And it's a squeaky clean little thing, baby. So you gotta drive it in there? Oh my God, it's a clean one, baby. And the damn thing is wide open. Get it in there! 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Clark Modular Homes of Mount Pleasant, Rusty Gold Antiques in Everett, Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clear Vision Windows, Siding and Roofing of Midland, and attorney Todd L. Levitt.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.